Okay, Sumayanasya Daya. We're going to talk very clearly about the rules of engagement. We're here on an earth plane where we have unfettered access to a variety of sources. We have the ability to be, we have the ability to create, we have the ability to harness and harvest energy. We have the ability to be free to choose what we like. In the fields of creation, there was always one myth. Do what you like. It's not real. It's all a game. We're all going back to the eternal source. That was the myth. It was handed down very purposefully to take the game off track. And so we need to restore the original rules of creation. Back to sovereignty, back to free will, back to consent. Sumayana Syatayana Punayana. So consent these days is the name of the game. And it's being shown to us on so many levels, so many different angles. It's all over the streets. I told you you couldn't. No, you told me I could. You didn't say no. We have got to start using our voice and say no. I do not consent. I wish to be free. That's all that it takes, folks. Doesn't need to be loud. There doesn't need to be a riot. Violence isn't required. It is a gift of the heart when added to that frame. No, I wish to be free. That's what's going to change the course of humankind. You've got to recognize that by not saying no, you're saying yes. And each and every one of us has a duty, because we live here, to take back our rights to exist. Everything is coming down the pipe. You have got alien interference. You have agendas from each and every side of the fence playing out right here. This is a playing field. It's a battlefield, so to speak, because there is war. And we've got to get on the page of no more. It means taking back your power, taking back your free will, taking back your ability to speak, and saying, yes, this is what I would like. In order to do that, though, at some stage we must stop the fight. Right now, so many of you are fighting. Till your dying breath, you will rage. You'll seek revenge. You'll become angry at every turn. What if there was another way? Simayana Syataya. And when you took that way, you could create the future and the possibilities that you want to see. That's for you, your children, and all the future generations to come. So when we talk about sovereignty and we talk about free will, we just need to get clear. It's being harnessed right now and used against you. It's an energy stream. It's a loop. To step out of it, we need to take back the box that contains the greatest gifts that there ever was. Sits right here in the middle of your chest, and it's called love. Everything you need is right there. It means treating each other as you would treat yourself. If you knew how to care for one another, you would never consent to the violence that is occurring on the earth plane. You would never consent to any of the rapes, the tortures, and the mutilations that are occurring. It's going on at a vast level, my friends, Sumayanasya, and it's not far from your home. You've got to look in the streets, look in your schools, look in the theaters, look everywhere you can see with different eyes. Open them up wide, Sumayanasyataya, and say, do I give consent? Because if the answer is not really, then you have a duty to change it. And you have an opportunity to take grace that already rests within and apply it to what you see. Sumayanasyataya. So let's give real world potential for this. It's going to be an excavation process. Spiral steps leading up to the very essence of who you are. But you've got to start somewhere. And you've got to begin to dig. What's occurred here? What has really occurred on this earth plane? Because the answer isn't pretty. And no one wants to see it. And I understand why. Because when you look at the harm done, you cannot unsee it. And we have been taught to turn a blind eye and look at the good in life. And that is important. It is important to focus on the joy, to focus on the love, to focus on the potentials and the possibilities. Because that's what creates the new. And it is an essential part of the creation process. It's necessary, it's required. But for those of you who have found this space and don't want to go back into the trap in the game, you have got to. You have got to open up your eyes and see from a different lens. This lens is called perspective. Each and every one of us is giving consent to the harm that is being done to the indigenous races, to the children in domestic violence, to the children who are being raped, to their innocence being taken away. Each and every one of us is responsible for this because we're not willing to see it. But if we can see it from the heart, we can use a different lens. And it's not so hard to take. And we can stop the wars, we can stop the racism, and we can bring this world back to peace. But it's only going to begin with you. You are the end to all suffering. You are the end to all violence. You're the beginning of a new wave. You are the transition. You are the peak in society that's going to say no more. We don't give consent. And you're going to transition out of the fear and out of the violent nature of what's being done to all of those who we turn our backs on. You've got to bring them up. Pick them up from the streets because they are dying inside. And you do that with your care and with your love for each other. because it's not going to go away. It's just going to get worse. Over and over and over again, we have repeated these same cycles. They've been lost to us because we can't see the past. We can't see the linear realities that have played out time and time again. I've taken a bit of a trip through time in more ways than one, and it hasn't been pretty to see, but I've had a lot of memories restored of beauty, of glory, of happiness, of joy. But the most insidious memories, they were also brought to the surface. All the timelines that saw annihilation of species, complete fragmentations of the soul, depth beyond despair, and that no man should have to endure. This is real. I've seen it in full color. And I'm being asked to use my eyes to share a message with you. You can't turn your back anymore on what's inside and what's out. This is the reflection of universal goodwill. We're alive because we care. We breathe because we love. And we have time here because we are the one. We are the original creator. We are the original source. And because this is the fact that we are all a fractal, a piece of the original one, we are complete. We have power beyond measure, power beyond compare, to take back our homes, inside and out. And it starts with you. So what are you going to do to change the situation in your own life and for the species? The planet's fine. She's giving us time to adjust. She wants us to go with her. She's on an acceleration path. But we have got to catch up. Who are you letting die around you? Who are you sending to school in a system that does not have their best interests in mind? There is agenda, and it is time to wake up, because these are your children. And they get it. Something's wrong. I'm not saying they can't have a fun time. I'm not saying that joy and happiness and abundance doesn't exist. I'm saying because it does exist, we have an ability to balance the scales. Not everyone sits on that level. Not everyone is able to create. The soul has had so much pain, and it continues to be in an effort to survive, that for those of us who have found joy and who have found love and who've found that space where we create abundance in life, we have an opportunity to exist purely because they are helping us along. This is dualistic nature. This is reality, where we take one arm of the spectrum and then we go to the other. And then eventually we slide into the middle, we find the space of the heart. That we can't all sit over here and ignore those who are over here. We've got to bring them back into. And that may mean a helping hand. It may mean a shoulder to cry on. It may mean you build a new civilization, sometimes known as New Earth. Because many of you have that opportunity to bring something new to this dynamic. You cannot walk over any in the street because you walk over the self. And the self is calling you home. So find the space to give. Find the space to truly care, to truly breathe, to truly be one, in here, but also out there. That's the nature of reality. It is a beast. It can be a monster. There are so many angles of attack and so many opportunities to retreat. And so many of you have retreated because the game has gotten intense. They have come down with full force to show us the way. They are not the enemy. There's no one here chasing you. You are running from something that does not exist. It may feel real. It may feel like a wave or a current or a storm, but it's not the sea. It's the fear that has been implanted in the brain through the TV, through the media streams, and through your own thoughts. Sunayana, Sumayana, Syataya. So when you're ready to compete and enter the arena and show them what you've got, take yourself high above the clouds, back to the eyes of one, back to the one source creator, first eternal light, and give them the gift that they are ready to receive. And that's you. Kasitukunayana Sumayana Syataya. That's all of you. Sutaya Kunayana. Kasya.